Welcome into KSL Sports Rewind. It's our RPI dissection video. Yeah, that's right. Dane Stewart, Tim Haslam here. We're going to talk to you about the RPI for both boys and girls on today's edition of KSL Sports Rewind. All right, Tim, let's talk some 4A boys lacrosse, shall we? We're filming this on Monday, April 18th. So as of Monday, April 13th, my apologies. So as of April 13th, here's where your top five stand in the RPI in 4A. Number 5, Green Canyon. Number 4, Bear River. Number 3, Waterford. Interesting, we'll get to that. Number 2, Ridgeline. And number 1, Juan Diego, who set the tone early with that opening season win in overtime against Corner Canyon. Tim, give us your thoughts on the 4A boys RPI rankings.
I think they're great. I think they're right where we thought they would be. No real surprises there. The 4A rankings are using the Max Preps formula, not the UHSA formula this year. And so Juan Diego, right now 16.05, Ridgeline, the next team 7.4. So Juan Diego double Ridgeline in that one. And I think that makes sense. I don't think anyone's shocked by that. Honestly, 4A is Juan Diego's to lose. If we're being honest. Things to look at though as we move on. Ridgeline, they've had a great schedule so far. They played a lot of great teams. They've had 6 games settled by 2 goals or less. 4 of those were 1-goal games. So definitely playing hard. Exciting to see where they'll end up. Waterford only played 6 games so far. So not a true test. Some of these other teams 9, 10, 11 games. And then Waterford's only playing, I think, another 4 or 5. And then they have their region's doing a little playoff.
Region tournament, yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us about that, Tim. They did it last year. Tell us about that format.
It's new to me, honestly, because, I've been in the college ranks for a bit. And so coming back and I saw that, I was like, wow, that's actually pretty fun. But they have 4 teams in the region. So 1 will play 4 and then 2 will play 3. And then the winners play for the championship, which I think is really fun. It's a great way to settle that when you have 4 teams. If it's tricky when you have 4 teams. And so it's a fun little tournament. We'll definitely see if we can get some coverage of it on the Utah Lax Report. And I'm excited for it. It'll be fun. And then the other thing you look at, Dane, is that Region 11. Brutal. It's brutal.
They all have like nearly identical records.
They do. And I think that's what's going to make it so fun, right? You've got Ridgeline, Bear River, Green Canyon, Skyview, Mountain Crest. Those are 5 of the 7 teams there at the top. And it's just going to be a gauntlet. Every one of those games is going to matter, maybe a little more than they have. And so I'm just excited to see where that goes. And then, Dane, it's always the question of which Southern Utah team is going to make it, right? Is going to get past the quarterfinals. We saw Snow Canyon last year. Is it going to be Dixie this year? Snow Canyon, they play on Wednesday. I want nothing more than those Southern Utah teams to be good, just so that we can continue to build the state and get great competition in the 4A level.
Tell you, it was so awesome last year when Snow Canyon came up for that semifinal game, brought a great contingency with them. They were just so senior heavy. It was like, man, can they get back here this year? And having to replace so much talent off of that group. But I'm with you. It was awesome seeing St. George travel up for that semifinal. We'd love to welcome them back up here again this year. But Tim, when you look at this, you say it's kind of Juan Diego's to lose. Obviously, that Juan Diego Waterford game, that's right around the corner. That will be huge. Again, they'll have an opportunity to potentially play again in that region playoff, which I love that idea. They did it last year, and I was like, that's beautiful. I'm from Idaho. We did that all the time in our high school sports. You had kind of your region tournaments, and you had your state tournament. It was awesome. I'm a big fan of it. But, Tim, I want to ask you, because we talked about, up north, Cache Valley, Bear River, Green Canyon, Skyview, Mountain Crest. That's 4 through 8 in the our RPI in the rankings. Which of those teams do you think is best positioned to put together a postseason run to get to a semifinal? Because every year, a Cache Valley team has at least made a semi. And most years, they've made a state championship. Which of those teams do you think is best positioned to make that run this year?
Yeah, I had some intel before we started recording. Green Canyon was up on Mountain Crest. So for me, it is Green Canyon. They were like tripling them up at the moment when we started recording this. So wow. I think it is Green Canyon. When they play Ridgeline, I think everyone will want to see that game. And then you've got Bear River, who's at 9-2, just a great record. And so to me, again, it is Green Canyon. they also played that Santa Margarita team that we talked about in the 5A and got beat up pretty good. But, you take away that game and they're 8-1, which is pretty impressive. All of these 4A teams have at least 2 losses, again. So like similar to the girls side, how all their records were pretty similar. You've got the same thing here in 4A, and it's just really exciting.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. If Ridgeline has 3 losses, Skyview has 3 losses. Outside of those 2, your top 7 teams have no more than 2 losses, right? So they all are hovering right around kind of that same, loss number. Again, Waterford having not played as many games as the rest. Their winning percentage is a little bit different. But look, 4A, it's set a tone very early when Juan Diego got that win over Corner Canyon, and they've been kind of the cream of the crop. We'll see if they can hold on to it through their region play, their region tournament, and then the state tournament. We got all sorts of lacrosse coming up for you here on KSL Sports Rewind. We'll have live game streams every week. We'll also have more content video. Go check out our 4A girls video, our 5A, 6A boys and girls RPI breakdowns. We got it all for you right here on KSL Sports Rewind as we take you all the way to state championships right here on KSL Sports.